encouraging others. The story of Mephibosheth. That's a tough name, isn't it? Mephibosheth. Mephibosheth. Can you say that? Mephibosheth. Who is Mephibosheth? Well, to know who Mephibosheth is, we need to know these three key people: King Saul, Jonathan, and David. King Saul is the king of Israel, Jonathan is King Saul's son, and David is Jonathan's best friend. David is also the one who plays the harp for King Saul when he feels overly stressed and sad. He's also a warrior for Israel and fights and is able to defeat many bad guys, including Goliath. David and Jonathan were best friends. They were very close friends and were able to really trust one another. As David becomes more and more powerful and a better warrior, Saul becomes very jealous of him, and he can see that God is blessing David, and he's afraid of losing his control over the kingdom. So he decides he wants to kill David. So Jonathan and David meet up and they discuss. David says, "What have I done wrong, Jonathan? Why is your father trying to kill me?" Jonathan replies, "I will find out, but no matter what happens, you must promise that you will show kindness to me and my family as long as I live." And David makes a promise. He says, "I make this promise before the Lord that I will show kindness to your family." And then they part ways. Time passes, and King Saul is no longer the king anymore, and Jonathan has died in battle. And now David is the king. And he realizes that now his power is secure, and he decides he wants to try to find people from King Saul's family that he can bless. And so he calls in a servant that was from Saul's family, and he asks him, King David asked him, "Is there anyone left in Saul's family? I must show kindness to them because of the promise I made his son Jonathan." And the servant replies, "I am your servant Ziba. I know that one of Jonathan's sons still lives, but he is crippled in both feet." David asks, "Where is he?" And Ziba tells him where he lives, and he asks him to please find him and bring him to my palace at once. And so the servant brings Mephibosheth to David. Now Mephibosheth was injured when he was trying to escape, when his nurse was trying to escape from the palace when King Saul died, and so he wasn't able to walk. Mephibosheth says, "I am your servant, Mephibosheth. You called for me?" And King David replies, "Don't be afraid. I intend to be kind to you because of the promise I made to your father Jonathan." Mephibosheth says, "Why do you notice me? I am crippled and useless." But King David gets up and he goes over to Mephibosheth and says, "I'm going to give you all of your father's land, and I also command my servant Ziba and his sons to take care of everything for you." And for the rest of his life, Mephibosheth was able to eat at the king's table just as if he was one of David's own sons. And that is the story of how King David was able to encourage Mephibosheth, who was crippled and a little bit scared. He was able to encourage him and show kindness to him, just as God shows kindness to us.